Hello, my name is Teresa Valentino, and I'm a survivor of child sex trafficking. And that means that I have a number of different challenges that I have to deal with in life. One of them is becoming visible. So my voice is getting a little raw because I've tried to tell this story about 6 different times, and I keep going off on tangents. And I just want to make this short and sweet. I've been bullied really a lot in my life. I was trafficked as a child, and then I was scapegoated within my family. So I was literally raised to believe that I was less important than other people. As a small child, when I first learned the word violence, I had already experienced so much violence, and there had been no consequences. And the only consequences were that if I said anything, I would be in trouble. So I very firmly have always believed that other people were more important than me, that they had more rights than me, all of that. And it's been a lot of work on my part to work my way back out of it. At the same time, whenever someone wants to treat me like I'm less important than other people, it triggers a kind of rage in me, a level of upset that I don't know that other people can really understand. I don't know that anyone who has never been physically brutalized the way that I have can really understand how they come across with their little petty conflict-driven nonsense. So one of the biggest things that I deal with is conflict-driven people in the world. There are a lot of people in the world who have what they call cluster B personality disorders, where like if they're not screwing with somebody, they're not happy. So those people are a challenge for me because I have poor boundaries, because I was raised not to have any boundaries. There were times when I was not allowed to wear clothes, okay? I was not allowed to say who could touch me or how. And if I tried to cry or complain about it when they choked me unconscious, there would be hell to pay. So if it seems like I'm a little petty to people, try to imagine my context. Try to imagine the amount of anger that it gives me inside when somebody treats me like other people are more important than me just because they want to be. Like, I could say ugly things that would sound so ugly people would be shocked, stunned, and horrified, but people don't show a lot of humanity to me. I stopped treating them as human beings because they don't treat me like a human being. I'm not gonna reflect positive behavior that I don't see coming from other people. So I'm saying this now as a veteran paramedic. There are certain people who, when they go there with me, like if I saw them drop dead, I would not do CPR on them. That's a very ugly and very real thing that I'm owning up to right now. And that lady is one of them at the store. So I'm gonna get back to this now. Why I will never go back to the grocery store on my corner. So the store on my corner is an Asian market where they sell a lot of different produce and all kinds of stuff that you would buy if you were from Vietnam or Cambodia, things I don't even know what they are. But they have great produce and it's cheap. So I went over there to buy just a few items. And I am walking over there with my walker. I've got like 3 or 4 items on my walker, and I get over to the counter and I'm getting ready to pay. There's one lady in front of me. She only has 3 or 4 items. There's nobody else in behind me. It's not very crowded that day, just now. Excuse me. But so that she's ringing up the lady in front of me, and I'm putting my groceries up on the counter, just a few things. And so I looked up because I felt something shifted, like the mood changed. See, this is something about me, is I actually feel other people. When other people's moods change, I feel it in my mood as well. So I really cannot afford to be around a lot of really negative or conflict-driven or highly aggressive kind of people. They just upset me. They upset my stomach. I can't cope with it. So I felt the woman in front of me, her mood just changed from neutral to not good at all. Like she got very wrinkled up. Like I felt all the hairs go on the back of her neck, and like her stomach got tight, like her jaw went tight for a second there. So I looked up to see why, and another lady had stepped in front of her and started talking to the cashier while the lady in front of me was still in the process of checking out. So she was walking around to the end of the counter and talking to the cashier who's ringing her up, while this other woman just walks up and starts talking too, like she's not even there. That's what she got ticked off about. So I look at the lady who walked in front of her, and she is obviously wealthy. She's wearing expensive clothes and a lot of jewelry, and she has like a boofy kind of hairdo that wealthy women wear, like a real estate lady or something. So, she's got this clownish looking makeup on that honestly looks like she took pancake mix and just like poofed it all on her face. And I just thought, how weird is that? This, even among Asians, like the white people with their shit, if I'm richer and whiter, then I'm better and I get to go first all the time. That was my very first thought, because the lady in front of me that she stepped in front of was an indigenous looking person, like a racial minority from Vietnam, whereas this wealthy woman with the white pancake clown makeup on, hello, I'm European and I think you look like a clown. So just saying, not saying, just saying. Anyway, so clown face lady came to realize after the woman in front of me walked out that clown face lady, oh, I get it now. She wants the cashier, instead of ringing me up, to ring her up, and she's doing that, which is why I'll never go back to that store. They had this conversation in Vietnamese, which, does it look like I speak Vietnamese? I don't. So, and I think they both know that, and both of them demonstrated that they speak English. So that is just highly aggressive when you're going to just switch into a language that one person won't understand while you're robbing them of their agency, and then you go back to English. That's bullshit, and I'll never go back in that store again. So I took it as racist. I took it as, you know, our Asian customers are important and our non-Asian customers are not. Like, so I'm not going to be anybody's chump on that. As much as I dislike the racist white people of this country and the Trump people talking shit about immigrants, I am definitely not here for immigrants to treat me like a second-class citizen in my country. Fuck that. So, they lost a customer, but I guess they don't care. So it's good. We're all good. The only thing that I would do differently, the cashier put that woman in front of me, and then the cashier turned to me and said, would you like a bag? She did that to fill up that awkward space where she's supposed to be waiting on me, but she's waiting on someone else instead. So she's making it seem like I have some agency by asking me to answer a yes or no question, as though I have some choice. I don't. The decision has been made between those two. Two wolves and a sheep just voted on dinner there. Bah! So, next time given a do-over, as soon as I realize that she has straight up gone ahead and done that, I'm just going to walk out. I don't need it. Thanks anyway. I'll just go to one of the many other grocery stores very close by that also have nice Asian produce. Thanks anyway. I'll just take a little walk. So, that's what I'll do next time. Live and learn. Next time, no, you chose one customer over another. That means you don't get to keep the other one. You chose one. So, but I've put a lot of time and thought into who I want to be and who I don't want to be, okay? And I'm a Michelle Obama fan. When they go low, I like to go high. So I'm not going to sit there and make a scene because, first of all, I always work the over-under. There's nothing I can do about it. The decision has already been made. So since I don't have any choice, I'm not going to say anything. But I did have a choice. I could have just walked out, and next time, by God, I definitely will. So, I just answered, no, I have a bag. And so then the clown face lady, after she gets finished ringing up, she had the same number of items that I did even. That's how obnoxious this was. So after she's done ringing up, she looks at me and goes, okay, thank you. Again, switching back to perfectly good English when there's no need to rob me of my agency. Bitch. So I looked at her and I said, have a nice day. And, you know, that's one of those things where I didn't want to have an Irish moment, okay? I've trained myself long ago. If the only words that I can think of to say are going to end with, my fat Irish ass bitch, just say have a nice day instead, okay? So I just said have a nice day. And whenever I say have a nice day, the other thing I'm thinking to say could possibly get me arrested. Please know that. So the other thing is, if I want to call you a bitch, I almost always call you ma'am, okay? Because I've trained myself to be who I want to be in the world. So I just said, have a nice day. Like somebody mean mugs you and says, have a nice day, figure that shit out. But Southern California is so phony and so passive aggressive that people really don't get the difference between passive aggression and just using a polite tone of voice. So, as I walked out, I got going through the parking lot with my walker because I'm disabled, you know. So this lady, this is how bullshit this was. It took me literally, she was not even out of the parking lot. It took me literally 30 seconds to get rung up. Same amount of time it took her. So I'm walking out there, and now because I said have a nice day, which she right over her head. So she drives up in her car and she smiles and waves like thank you again. And so I went like this. No, fuck you. That's the thing. I threw her the finger as she drove past me, and I really hope that it upset her, and I'm sure it did. Anyone that phony, anyone who puts that much effort into smelling a certain way and looking a different color than they really are is super, super insecure and concerned with what other people think of them. So the weirdness and the cognitive dissonance of those people is that they are also conflict driven. Like the people who need your approval so much also run around doing shit like that. Like that's just a passive aggressive douchebag way of doing things where you're going to be like, oh, I've robbed you of your agency and we're still cool. You know what I mean? So live and learn. Next time I will walk out of the store and not purchase a single goddamn thing. Just walk another 3 blocks to the other grocery store. It'll be fine. But I am glad that I flipped her off. And she had her elderly father in the car. That's one of those things where generally I know for a fact anybody his age who is from either Vietnam or Cambodia has been through a world of shit, and I try to be very easy on their mental health for that reason. I have a lot of respect for people who have survived the amount of shit that those people certainly have. There's no way that anyone came out of a country the size of Vietnam in those days without dealing with a lot of trauma. So normally I would just have respect for that, but you know what? I'm not feeling her. She should definitely not have smiled and waved at me again because I gave her the 1 finger salute. How else would I respond to that, sweetie? Why should I? What the fuck? So I feel good about that. It may seem petty, it may seem small, but for me it was a victory because I'm sure it was upsetting for her. I'm sure it was embarrassing for her that I did that in front of her father, and her father must have surely asked why, okay? And then I don't know what she told him, and I don't care. I hope she cries about it. I hope she kills herself. I don't care what she does. I don't need her in my world. That sounds awful, but I'm sick of white people and their shit. I'm sick of rich people and their shit. So, yeah, I became visible a little bit more today by flipping that woman off, and it felt great. I'm really more pissed off at the store because the cashier could have just told her to wait for just a moment because there was nobody else in line behind me. That was really bullshit. So I don't think I'm actually going to go to the store and tell them that I'll never shop there again because that was so wrong. But I did go on Google Maps. Like, if they're going to be passive-aggressive with me, I guess I'll just be passive-aggressive with them. I'm robbing them of their agency to discuss it with me. I've just made that decision and shared it with the world. So that's how that goes. Anyway, I hope that's useful for you. My blog is at teresavalentino.com, and I talk about this kind of stuff. I try to be very honest about the challenges that I face, even when things may seem silly or small or petty like this. But you know what? Everything is important or it wouldn't happen. Like, that was a teachable moment, not only for me, but for that woman too. So the cashier, I guess she'll get her teachable moment on another day, but it was excellent. It felt so good to just flip that woman off. Like, honey, no, it was not okay, sweetie, and you should know that. So there we go. Check me out, teresavalentino.com. Ciao.